Today, we're going to unpack something that's, I think a lot of people find really confusing. Anti-diabetic medications.
Yeah.
It's like walking into a pharmacy and just seeing this wall of options, you know?
All right.
Where do you even start? So that's where this deep dive comes in. We've got some great source material that explains these medications in a way that I think anyone can understand.
Yeah.
So think of it as like a beginner's guide to navigating the world of diabetes meds.
That's right. We're going to break down these medications into different classes, kind of like organizing your tools into different drawers. And we'll talk about how each class works to help manage blood sugar.
Okay, so first things first, when we talk about diabetes management, what's like the big picture goal?
The ultimate goal is to keep blood sugar levels stable. You see, in diabetes, the body struggles to use sugar properly for energy, and that can lead to all sorts of health problems down the road.
Makes sense. So how do these medications fit into the picture?
Well, each class of medication works in a slightly different way, but they all aim to help the body use sugar more effectively. It's like having different strategies to solve the same problem.
I like that. Different strategies for the same goal. Our source material actually uses a really cool analogy to explain one of these strategies.
Okay.
It talks about insulin being like a key that unlocks the door for sugar to get into our cells.
Exactly. Insulin is crucial for allowing sugar to move from the bloodstream into the cells where it can be used as fuel.
And this is where a class of medications called sulfonylureas comes in. They're like little key makers,
Yeah.
encouraging the pancreas to produce more insulin keys.
That's a great way to put it. Some examples of sulfonylureas are glympyride, glyburide, and glipizide. They've been around for a while and can be quite effective. But there's a catch. Because they boost insulin production, there's a risk of blood sugar dropping too low, a condition called hypoglycemia.
Oh, so it's all about finding that sweet spot with the dosage.
Absolutely. That's why regular checkups with your doctor are so important to make sure you're on the right track.
Now, another medication that often comes up is metformin.
Yeah.
It's part of the Go-90s class. It seems like metformin is a bit of a superstar in the diabetes world. Why is that?
Well, metformin is often the first choice for type 2 diabetes because it works in two ways. Firstly, it tells the liver to slow down on making extra sugar. And secondly, it helps the body's cells become more responsive to insulin. It's like improving the lock mechanism so that the insulin key works more efficiently.
So it's kind of like a double whammy against high blood sugar.
Precisely. And unlike sulfonylureas, metformin doesn't cause blood sugar to drop too low. It's generally well tolerated, although some people might experience mild stomach upset, especially in the beginning.
Good to know. All right, let's move on to another class,
Yeah.
DPP-4 inhibitors.
Okay.
These medications sound a bit like they're boosting the body's natural abilities.
They are. You see, our bodies naturally produce hormones called incretins.
Okay.
These incretins help regulate blood sugar, especially after meals.
So they're like the body's built-in blood sugar control squad.
You could say that. Now, what DPP-4 inhibitors do is prevent these incretins from breaking down too quickly. It's like extending the life of these helpful hormones.
Ah, so they're giving those incretin superheroes more time to do their job.
Exactly. Examples of DPP-4 inhibitors include sitagliptin, saxagliptin, and linagliptin. And a big plus is that they have a lower risk of causing low blood sugar compared to some of the other medications we've talked about.
That's reassuring. Now, before we dive into the next class of medications, I'm curious about something. You mentioned that metformin often works on both the liver and the cells.
Yes.
Are there any other classes that take a multi-pronged approach like that?
There are. And that brings us to our next group, GLP-1 receptor agonists.
Okay.
They're pretty fascinating because they not only regulate blood sugar, but they also impact how quickly the stomach empties and can help people feel fuller longer.
Interesting. So they're tackling multiple aspects of blood sugar control and even potentially helping with weight management.
Right. It's all about understanding how different body systems work together. Examples of GLP-1 receptor agonists include semaglutide, liraglutide, and dulaglutide.
Okay, before we move on, can we just recap the medications we've covered so far?
Sure.
It feels like we're building a toolbox of options here.
Absolutely. We've talked about sulfonylureas, the key makers that boost insulin production. We discussed metformin, which works on both the liver and the cells to improve sugar control. And we explored DPP-4 inhibitors, which extend the life of the body's natural blood sugar regulators, incretins. Finally, we touched on GLP-1 receptor agonists, which have multiple actions, including slowing down digestion and promoting feelings of fullness.
This is starting to feel a lot less overwhelming. It's like we're putting together a puzzle piece by piece.
Exactly. And there are even more pieces to this puzzle.
Well, then let's keep going. Tell me about the next tool in this diabetes management toolbox.
All right, we're talking about SGLT2 inhibitors. Now stay with me here. These medications actually work on the kidneys, helping them remove excess sugar through urine.
Wait, so they're like little sugar filters for the kidneys?
That's a great way to think about it. They help the kidneys flush out extra sugar that the body doesn't need.
That's pretty amazing. So examples of these kidney helpers are...
Empagliflozin, dapagliflozin, and canagliflozin.
Got it. So we've got these SGLT2 inhibitors working on the kidneys, but earlier you mentioned that metformin works on both the liver and the cells.
Yeah.
Are there any other medications that have actions beyond just blood sugar control?
There are. In fact, these SGLT2 inhibitors have also been shown to have positive effects on heart and kidney health, which is a significant bonus.
Wow, that's really impressive. But I imagine there might be some things to watch out for with any medication, right?
Of course. While SGLT2 inhibitors offer these additional benefits, it's important to be aware that they can slightly increase the risk of certain infections. That's why open communication with your healthcare provider is crucial.
Right, because every medication has its own set of potential side effects and considerations.
Exactly. It's all about weighing the benefits and risks and finding the right balance for each individual.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about sulfonylureas, metformin, DPP-4 inhibitors, GLP-1 receptor agonists, and SGLT2 inhibitors. But I feel like there's one big player we haven't discussed yet, insulin itself.
You're absolutely right. Insulin is a cornerstone of diabetes management, especially for people with type 1 diabetes. And sometimes it's needed for those with type 2 diabetes as well.
I'm guessing there's more to insulin than meets the eye?
There is. Insulin comes in different types, each with its own speed and duration of action. There's rapid-acting insulin, which works very quickly, long-acting insulin, which provides a steady background level of insulin, and intermediate-acting insulin, which falls somewhere in between.
So it's like having different types of insulin for different needs and situations.
Exactly. Understanding how and when to take insulin is incredibly important. Proper timing and dosage are key to avoiding both high and low blood sugar episodes.
This is where working closely with your doctor is crucial, right?
Absolutely. They can help you navigate the different types of insulin and create a plan that fits your individual needs.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, exploring the world of anti-diabetic medications. It's like we've opened up a whole toolbox of options.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the big picture. What are some key takeaways you want our listeners to keep in mind as we continue this conversation?
I think the most important takeaway is that managing diabetes is a partnership between the individual and their healthcare provider. It's about open communication, asking questions, and advocating for your own health. Your healthcare provider is there to guide you and help you make informed decisions about your treatment.
That's a great point. Knowledge is power, and the more you understand about diabetes and the various treatment options available, the better equipped you'll be to manage your condition effectively.
Exactly. We've only just scratched the surface today, but hopefully this gives you a solid foundation to build upon.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative and empowering. Until next time, stay curious.